All right, he is the newest news correspondent for The Daily Show. He's hilarious. You're going to love him. Put your hands together for Josh Johnson.
Okay. I don't know if y'all heard about that dude in Wisconsin that faked his death and maybe moved to Europe. If you haven't heard about this, great. Okay, so basically, what we know is that supposedly there was a man who faked his death and might be in Europe right now. And he has a family, right? 3 kids, a wife, and everything. And one thing we usually don't do as men is give a man the credit that we owe him for being the new bottom. Like the new lowest common denominator. Like, as men, we need this man. We need him, all right? You know, anytime you mess up as a man, when there's a man near you who has messed up worse, you'd be like, hey, I could be that guy. You know, next time you forget a birthday or something, be like, baby, look, I'm sorry I messed up, but you know what I didn't do is fake my death and move to Europe. Some people do that. I love you, and I would never. If I die, it'll be for real. I'm a good man. When I die, it will be of an ulcer or something. You know what I mean? Something where you've really held the pain in, didn't talk to anybody, didn't try to do anything about it. You know, real man stuff. I'm gonna do what men are supposed to do. I'm gonna support this family, not go to therapy, hold it all in. And then one day grab my chest like, and you'll know that maybe we should have left this one argument alone, right? Because I would never fake my death and move to Europe. I've done plenty of things, plenty of dumb things. Sometimes I'm just like having a good day, not really paying attention, and then you come in and you haven't had a good day. So you're telling me all the things that happened in your day that were not good. And instead of listening, I'm just sort of nodding, right? I'm just sort of nodding and being like, Different versions of like tasting something when you're telling me a story. And then you catch on that I'm not listening. So you ask me, what did I just say? And then I say, what did I just say? And you can tell I haven't been listening. And I know I should listen. I know that you're telling me this to vent because you trust me and you want my input on your day, right? I know that I let you down, but you know what I didn't do is fake my death and move to Europe. I'm not saying it makes me a hero, but it definitely stops me from being a villain. Oh, as men, that's one of our favorite things. When you mess up, but then somebody messed up next to you and it's way worse. You know, it's like when you go out to eat, go out to a nice dinner. You know, you take your lady out. And you're having a good time and everything, and then something comes up, maybe it's a little annoying, and maybe you start to like bicker a little bit, you know, just like at the table, in between the server checking on you, just a little bit of like, well, you don't even know what's about, you know that. Oh yeah, you know that good whispering, you know that in between your teeth, not here. You know, you got both on edge and everything, so you in between the teeth, and she's over here saying everything, but just at that level of like half miming, half voicing, just like, I'm just trying to keep things together, okay? I'm just trying to keep the whole family together. Server comes up, is like, can I get y'all anything? Oh, no, we're fine. We're fine. It was a good night. How are you doing? How's your night going? And it's tough, you know, because you'll be in the moment just bickering. And then out of nowhere, a couple next to you, the next table over, that haven't been bickering, the couple that you look at like, why can't we be like them? She stands up and she throws wine in his face. And she's like, what do you mean your mistress is pregnant? And now all of a sudden you're like, I'm pretty good, right? Like I'm a pretty good guy, huh? Can you give me that I didn't do all that? Like, you got the white wine, you wouldn't have even stained my shirt. Like, I would never put you through that, what those strangers are going through right now. And so it's good. It's good to have a new low as a man. You know I'm telling the truth. You know sooner or later you're gonna be in an argument and you're like, fine, all right, I'm no prize. But I'm here, right? Huh? I'm not in Europe, am I? I talk to you when we have a problem. I talk to you like a man. I don't hide my wallet on the shore. Yeah, this guy apparently faked his death and moved to Europe. And like, there's a lot of layers here. There's a lot of things to unpack, because let's also not pretend that there's never a reason to fake your death. All right, before we pass full judgment, I'm not saying this dude isn't a piece of shit for doing what he did. I'm saying that, like, there are reasons in life to fake your death. I'll go over some of them right now. Y'all look like you don't believe me. That's fine. Okay, back in the day, when I was in Chicago, I was hanging out with some friends. This is like about 5, 6 of us, right? And one of my friends, we're all in our like early 20s, by the way. One of our friends bought a yo-yo. And like gentlemen, none of us mentioned it. None of us were like, we're out here trying to get the ladies and you brought a yo-yo. You bringing the whole vibe down. And he brought his yo-yo and he was doing all the tricks. You know what I mean? You know, making it sleep and then popping it back up like a superpower. You know what I'm talking about? The like... Because he had the one that had the like little acrylic... with the lights, yes. It had the lights. And the little acrylic sound like it would do the like when it was at the bottom. And if you ever want to hear the sound of women leaving, it's that. And so he's like, and then he was doing Around the World, and he was doing all the like walk the dogs and stuff like that. He was really good if you were 15. And so then, you know, he finally does one, and it comes back to shoot up, but it passes his hand and it hits him in the face, right? And he's hurt. Okay, you ever been hurt so bad that you couldn't make noise? It hit him, right? And instead of even screaming, he just was like, oh. It's that hurt where you just have to slap something to like transfer some of the hurt while you're hurting. It didn't hit him and fly. It's in his mouth, by the way. Like it's stuck. We're still looking at it. He didn't move it. It's where his mouth should be. It's just a yo-yo, and he's like. And then he spits out the yo-yo, and a tooth flies out with it. And if he had faked his death, I would get it. If he was like, I need to start over from here, I would understand. Like, I really do get it, how people get to that place where they gotta fake their own death. because this was very hurtful and embarrassing. Or just a guy, I saw this guy online, and he had this weird energy about him, and it happens to dudes sometimes, and he was like that dude at the club that shouldn't be at the club, and I don't mean like he's old or something. I mean, he has an unsettling energy where he's trying to be more fun than anyone knows that he is. You know what I mean? You're like, you know that guy that's like, whoa, but it's like no woo is happening. We've all been around that person, like, yeah! And it's like, but it's a barbecue. I don't know why you are trying to bring all this extra. And so that's what he was doing. He was in this club, he's like, yeah! Woo! Woo! And like, there's not even that many people there. So there's nothing to lay cover. There's not even enough noise for like his energy versus what's actually happening. Because people are just kind of casually dancing. And he, yeah! Yeah! And then there's a woman that is like near the stairs, right? And I don't know what the stairs lead to, maybe the bathroom or something like that. But this woman is near the stairs and she's like twerking along the wall, and she's like really got it going. Like she's very good, right? And then this guy walks up and he's like, yeah, yeah, and he like slaps her ass a couple times and then starts doing this and everything, and then goes to go down the stairs. But then right as he goes to go down the stairs, his feet give up. His feet decide that they don't want to be a part of him, right? And so rather than walking down the stairs, this man trips with both his feet. I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. This man trips with both his feet and then rides just his knees and shins down the stairs. And when I say rides, I mean like, have you ever been on a sled? It's like that. It's exactly like that, but without the sled. He's just riding down, Home Alone style, just... And he's screaming, and you can barely hear him scream because the music is loud, but he's screaming so because he's riding his knees and shins down every step. They did not miss a step. Every knee hit every stair, and his shins hit all of the stairs. And so he's like, like a bird, right? Screaming like a bird the entire way down. He hits every step. And for some reason, I don't know why he thought it would help, but he's holding the handrail the whole time. And he's like, And if that guy faked his death, you would get it. You would be like, yeah, you gotta start over. You gotta start, I would say move to a place that doesn't even have music. Like you gotta do some different things. Move to a plateau. That's the type of, don't even have any elevation where you live because what if you have to go upstairs again? We don't know if you'll make it down. When I was growing up, I knew a kid who was dating someone for a long time. They started dating young, right? And it was very sweet. And it was in the same, how do you put this? It was in the same way that like you hear grandparents tell stories about falling in love. Is how he fell in love. Because he said early on, I'm gonna marry this girl, right? And he had to have been like 18, something like that. I'm gonna marry this girl. He said it early, right? And he did the thing that we look at as like the most romantic thing possible, buys a ring within a year, but doesn't do anything with, waits years. I bought the ring when I was 19. We're dating, we're 23. I bought the ring years ago because I was sure, I know, right? And, they have their little fights and stuff like that. They have little spats and stuff. But then one day, he decides, like, yeah, this is it. And he takes her on a trip, right? And they go on a trip that's like kind of the woods. I don't know. They rented a cabin. But they have their little fights on the way and everything. And overall, it's a nice time, They cook. They watch a movie and everything, and he decides he's going to propose to her while they're sitting on the couch when they get done watching one of her favorite movies. They both cooked, But then he had a cupcake. He put the ring in the cupcake, and they were going to share a cupcake. And whenever she got to the middle, that's where the ring would be, he would ask her, right? And he had the whole thing planned out. And he even had his speech planned out per bite, because he was going to take these little bites and then, bite, 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 ring, right? And so he starts it. And he's like, hey, I want to talk to you about something. Takes a little bite, passes it to her. And she's like, what? Takes a big bite. To say they're supposed to be sharing takes an inconsiderate bite. Like this, like when you're a couple and you order something and they're like, can I have a little bit of yours? And you're like, sure. And then they slide a whole more than a little off your plate onto their plate. And you're like, you should have said half then. If you want half, say half. Don't say a little bit when you know it's half. Because you like my orders because I know how to order. You over here experimenting, trying to have an experience, and then you don't like what you got. Now you want half of what I have, which would normally be fine, but you said a little bit. If you said split, then we good. You say split, then we're splitting. That's what half is, splitting. You said a little bit, and now I don't even know what it tastes like because you didn't pick up, because mine came first and you went ahead and picked off mine, then took half when you got yours. So now I've had at least a seventh of the meal that I ordered that I think is good, but I don't remember how it tastes because it just sort of left my memory so fast. And so she's taking these big bites, so he got to take smaller bites, and he got to turn the cupcake when he passes it back to her to make sure her bites don't interfere with his speech, because now he got to hurry up the speech because the bites are too big. And so now he handing her the thing from the bottom, just bite this part. I'm almost done. And when he hands her what's basically a ring covered in a little bit of cupcake to try to bite, at the same time that he says, will you marry me, she says, I think we should break up. And so if you want to fake your death, that's kind of like the opportune moment to be like, oh, yeah, you want to break up, and I wanted to I'll be right back. And then just move to Europe, I suppose. But yeah, so this dude in Wisconsin faked his death, maybe moved to Europe, and the way he did it, this is my thing, okay. So, first of all, he goes on a kayaking trip alone, right? Which, to be fair, is very much missing activity. You know what I mean? That should actually be in the brochure. Hey, do you want to get away from everything forever? Come kayaking by yourself. This dude goes kayaking by himself, actually texts his wife on the 11th, and it's like, hey, heading back, whatever, right? But then doesn't head back. On the 12th is when he supposedly would have capsized, or, they think he may have drowned or something like that. They put on this whole search because by the 13th, his family hasn't heard from him. They're concerned, right? So they send out the search, and a search of volunteers who search acres and search the water. They use sonar. They use all this technology to try to find this dude. And there's actually a dude that works with the organization that does the searching that tells the sheriff, hey, listen, this is weird, because I'm not saying if I can't find him he can't be found. I'm just saying I'm pretty good at what I do, and he either not in this water or he went missing somewhere else, because I know what I do. I'm very good at this, and we're not seeing anything. We're not seeing any signs, anything. And then, sure enough, they decide to go ahead and look into a possibility of him maybe going missing somewhere else. They also run his name just to make sure, right? And when they run his name, they find that he went to Canada on the 13th, right? So, not missing, using his name, running his name so they can travel, maybe go to Europe through Canada, right? And this is where it starts to be clear that he does not know how to disappear. This is where it's clear he's watched a lot of TV but has not put in the work, because this is what this bonehead did. Okay, so basically, this man said This man said that his passport was lost because his passport's at home, right? Because I've disappeared, I'm missing, I might have died, right? But his passport's at home. What he did was he just put in for a new passport so that he'd have a passport to leave behind and to use. The only problem is that when they run your name, it's still you. What kind of dumb spy move is that? That's still your name. That's like getting pulled over and handing the cop a fake ID. You still in the car. Like this. And then his wife goes through his computer and stuff, and they find everything. They basically find where this dude has like looked up how to exchange money into a foreign bank. He's looked up how to travel, how to disappear. And this is my worry. I have the feeling that this dude thought that he covered all his tracks because he put everything in the recycle bin. And then left it there. Like that, I genuinely think that's what happened. I think this dude was just moving files like, and they'll never catch me. I'm a mastermind. It's painful, right? So they find everything, and then his wife gives it to the police and stuff, and the police are like, oh, okay, yeah, this is pretty dumb, They even find where he took out a life insurance policy for like, I think $375,000, something like that. And this moment was where I had a journey in how I felt about this dude. Because initially when I heard it, I was like, what a terrible person, right? But then when I heard about the life insurance policy, I was like, wait, maybe I'm judging too quickly. Because if this dude is leaving a life insurance policy for his family, maybe he's just trying to make a clean break. Maybe this dude is like, look. I'm not a good father anyway. Let's at least part ways like this. Let me go ahead and get you some money for your trouble, and I'll go and I'll live in Europe and everything. Most dads leave for free. This dude... There's a high likelihood that this dude was like, let me break you off some bread, right? I'm gonna start a new life. You could go through college for free. And then I saw what doesn't look like he's tried to claim the life insurance policy, which would also be insane. That would be, I don't know much about insurance, and I don't like insurance companies, but that would be hella out of pocket to show up and be like, y'all, I died. I'd like the money from me dying, please. See, the policy says right here, if I died, this is how much whoever gets, and whoever is me and I died. So can you please make the check out to me? And so then I went back and forth. I was like, oh, maybe. No, actually, no, he's just a bad person. Just a bad dude. Faking his death, leaving his wallet, leaving his kayak, leaving his family. And then they find that apparently he's been talking to someone. He didn't just try to leave. Because that's another thing. When I thought he was just trying to leave, I was like, okay. It's not how you handle it. But some people, they have an episode. They're like, I need to get away. I don't know how, But then when I found out, like his family found out, that he left to be with some lover in Uzbekistan. That's also when my feelings sort of went up and down because I was like, oh, you're not even doing it in some like I can't live this life sort of way. You know what I mean? Like you're not having a midlife crisis in that way. You're just trying to cheat. All right, no, I can't get down with this. But a part of me momentarily did feel bad for him because I was like, wait, you met a woman in Uzbekistan. Oh, he's never been catfished before. This is my thing. I don't know if y'all have seen, you don't have to tell me if you know what I'm talking about. We can all just act innocent. But there are, in this world, illicit sites. Illicit sites where you go to watch people the beast with two backs. And then in these sites are ads. Ads for local singles in your area. Or even better, ads for very willing women who would love to marry you in Russia and Uzbekistan. I think my man may have fallen for one of these ads. That or he's been watching too much 90 Day Fiancé, because I feel like, come on now, how well do you know this person? And so now you faked your death to go to Europe to be with someone who might not even be real. That's wild. You gonna blow up your whole life for some text messages? I mean, really, how good are those texts? You know what I mean? No one found a picture. No one knows what this person looks like. They just know that, someone enticed him in some bad English. And now he's headed over there. And I don't know. I feel like you clearly have to be in a bad place to do something like this. You have a family. You know what I mean? You have people that depend on you. And you're about to throw it all away to go to a place I'm sure you can't spell. Because never forget, this man is an American. That's also what you have to keep in mind here. He over here trying to travel as an American, trying to get help in English and stuff. People in Romania speaking Romanian. He doesn't understand it. He's like, I just need to get to Uzbekistan. Do you know how to go left in Europe? Now he gets over there. Who knows what life is waiting for him, you know? I'd like to think that this woman in Uzbekistan really does exist. And she's mad as hell right now. She's like, no, we were supposed to go to America. Are you serious? You can't live with me. Because that's what would be, truly wild. If this dude comes back defeated. Just comes back to his family and is like, listen, y'all, look. I know what I did. I'm very sorry. Can you take me back? I've found, a new life here with you. I just want to be back with my family. Because obviously I hope this doesn't happen. But it would be kind of funny if while he's missing this whole time, he comes back home and his wife kills him. That would that'd be crazy. This dude show back up at his doorstep and his wife already got the shotgun and everything. He's like, baby, no. He's like, baby, I don't talk to ghosts. It's awesome to be here with you in Calgary. I appreciate y'all so much. It's really great to be here in Canada to get a break. Because when you live in the U.S., you live there. And it's all the time. You there every day. Unless you travel, you there every day. It's all happening all the time. You have the notification on your phone. It's bad. It's
every day you wake up, you're like, oh, again. No, it's rough. It's not the best time. It is not great right now. You know, and I'm impressed by you all because you all keep up with your news and our news. Like, you know what's going on here, you know what's going on, where we are and stuff. And yeah, I know that you're probably concerned because you read the news and it's close. But trust, we are more concerned because when I was a kid, there's this kid, I was just call him Laquan because rhymes with his name. But I always wanted to be really good at like climbing a tree. Like when I was reading stories growing up, some of my favorite characters were like very outdoorsy and they could climb trees real fast and everything. Maybe that'd be half the story was climbing the tree. And I just didn't have the grip. Out of fear of heights, I would just slide down. I didn't have it like that, but Laquan was fast. Was like, you know, up here and just knew like where to put the foot to get the hand. To just had like an awareness of everywhere that his body was, you know, and he was able to get really high. And then one day I was seeing a neighbor. The neighbor was like, "Did you hear about Laquan?" I was like, No, I didn't hear what happened. He was like, "Oh, he fell out of the tree, you know, and basically he got really high, but then a branch snapped, and so he had fallen, and then he bounced a couple times, and then he bounced between branches and just kind of hit every." You ever played pinball? He basically did that all the way down to where the actual final landing was pretty soft because every branch before that really broke his fall from what would have been a dangerous fall was now more of a plop with several lumps all over his body, right? And hearing that story was like painful because the kid that was telling me about it was there. So he was describing it in great detail. He was like, and then he was like, boom, and then he was like, boom, and then there was one branch he hit, he was like, oh! And hearing it was like jarring, you know? I can only imagine what it would have been like to be Laquan falling out of the tree. And that's what it's kind of like to be in the US as you like hear. It's like boom, boom, ow! Boom, boom, boom. Oh! Boom. Because I try when I go to different places to read a little bit of their news. I have to admit to you that I am not like so internationally minded all the time that I'm reading everybody's news all the time. I'm mostly focused on the news where I'm at. But in preparation, coming to Canada, I've been coming to Canada off and on for the past 2 weeks, and I've been reading news of the places that I've been going to, and let me just say, truly, it has been so sweet. It has been fundamentally adorable to read and watch your news delivered with such earnestness. As if these are real emergencies. They're not, I guarantee they're not. The way, okay. Even today, you know, I went to Montreal, went to Ottawa, Calgary, and I was in Ottawa, and just watching some local news, reading an article, and it was like a man was pulled over speeding. mean, where are you off to in such a hurry, buddy? Is the car not enough? Is the vehicle not enough? You have to punch it. Maybe you should have left earlier, all right? Maybe think about that. Think about your own safety, safety of others, you know? Speeding. Now, look at yourself. Got yourself pulled over, now you're late, all right? A man today was pulled over speeding, and when the police pulled him over, it turns out he had drugs in his vehicle. I just think about the parents, you know? I think about, sure he was 45, but where did this start? Oh, something must be going on at home, you know? You know, because marijuana is legal. He had drugs. He had narcotics. You see that news and you're like, oh, that's adorable. No. Meanwhile, you'll turn on the news, living in the States, and there'll just be a man in Kentucky found dead, just legs. We don't know where. We have no idea what happened to the top half. It is just legs. We're assuming it's a man. These could be any legs, really. We just sort of said man because of the size of the shoes. But while we're at it, let's just be on the lookout for anyone. If you see any top halves missing a bottom half, please call this hotline. You know? You see it. You see it all around. Even here, you know, come here, turn on the news, maybe read some news, and you see people angry, distraught. They're Canadians in Calgary, furious, right? Interviewing them. And they're like, I can't believe that our city, I can't believe that the province would put a sign right here. A sign right here, like a sign right here. I've parked here for years. What are they thinking? This is what happens when you lose connection to the people, all right? Meanwhile, in the U.S., Trump is trying to defund Elmo. I didn't do it. No, it's up for everybody. Bert, Ernie, Cookie Monster, anybody can get it. Nobody's safe. And so you see, when you come here and you get a break, you know, you see people like upset about something, but it's not like an umbrella of an issue. It's just their issue. You know what I mean? There's just something going on with them personally. That's refreshing. It really is. As small or as big as the personal problem is, it's nice, you know? It's nice to be able to talk to someone and get a sense of what's wrong with them. They're not having a good day. They're not happy, very angry or upset, but you're getting something from them that isn't this thing that it feels like no one can do anything about, you know? You know, like, met a man in Montreal, and we just casually started chatting, and he seemed like something was wrong, and I don't know what led me to do it, but I was just like, how's your day going, you know? And he was like, she left. Meanwhile, in the U.S., if you ask someone how their day is going, depending on who you ask, depending on the state or city, you're gonna get a very different answer. But a lot of the people that I've asked, hey, how's your day going? Maybe I'm just at a store. They're ringing me up. I'm like, how's your day going today? And then they're like, oh, you didn't hear? You didn't hear? He's outlawing reading. It's over. No, it's rough because then, you know, we have Trump wins. I know y'all saw. And then he's talking wild. He's like, Canada's gonna be the 51st state, right? I didn't say it. I do think, though, that one of the reasons, even the dog, even the dog. Dogs don't even have an understanding of like geographical boundaries or borders, and even the dog. That's wow. Did y'all do that on purpose? I know you've been booing every time somebody says 51st state. Did you teach the dogs to also? I think one of the things that did happen with that is that he said it in a way that was so glib and was so dismissive of not just Canada's like autonomy, but also he didn't even try to woo you. And I think it's because it's a hard sell. You know what I mean? You're telling me you don't want to be part of the United States, you don't want to get shot for free? No, in the U.S., let me tell you something. In the U.S., the United States of America, you get shot for free. You only have to pay to take the bullet out. You don't want to have the health care you have now, but not, you don't want to. No, you don't want your 12-year-old to read at a 12-month-old level. Why? You know, I look around, I ask, why? You don't want to pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to an insurance company that will act like they don't know you when you call to fulfill your claim. Come on. You know, you don't want to make the only food you can afford, food that you kind of don't even question what meat it is after a while. All right. To each their own. You know, because look, it is a tough sell to be the 51st state. I don't think that it would really work. One, because of the things that we're used to. You know, just in government alone, you have a parliamentary process. We have Congress, right? You have several parties. You have lots of parties to choose from. I say lots because we have 2. So even 3 would be like, wow! You know, like more and more of the U.S. when you travel, it just feels like it just feels like as someone from the States, when I go to other places and I'm learning whether it's their culture, different processes of government or just customs or something, I always come off like I'm not used to anything. Like they took me on a date And I got to the table and I was like, salt and pepper. Because that's what I'm used to. That's the totality of the spice rack of American politics. You get your salt and you get your pepper. Meanwhile, y'all have paprika. I'm not saying it's perfect. You have these like 5 parties, only 3 are probably ever gonna win, but you get these like choices, these different pushes, In the US, oof. We got Republicans, we got Democrats, and we got like Jill Stein.
Like I've been learning about your parties. I really didn't realize how much deeper it went as far as like the seats and the majority, and that no confidence vote is a pretty big thing. That's crazy. A no confidence vote, okay. Look, because I found out about no confidence, and I was blown away. So basically, I know you live here. I'm not telling you what it is, I'm telling you how I found out what it was, right? Okay, so with the no confidence vote, which is basically, if I have it right, it's when you have your like leadership party in power, but everybody is like, they're bad. Like, this is horrible. I don't even know if they know what they're doing. And then you talk to them in interviews and they're like, look, we don't know, but we gonna figure it out. And so then you have no confidence in them. So then, they get pushed to a no confidence vote. They get that no confidence vote. Then, you have to rejig the government. Basically have to be like, all right, y'all are not it. Let's get somebody who is it, right? And that, as like someone from the States, that blows my mind. That you can just not have confidence. That you cannot have confidence in your leadership and you don't have to wait. Because trust me, it's not just this election. There have been plenty of elections throughout my entire life where people voted, somebody won, and the confidence dwindled within about 6 weeks. And then we were like, oh, in 3 years and some change, you're gonna find out how we the people feel. I hope you're ready for that. No, I don't think you can get people who are a part of a system that has like a parliamentary process that has no confidence votes and then give them what we have in the US. I don't know if that would go well to be like, no, I know we voted for him, but that was a different time, and we didn't know that he was out of his mind. We didn't know that he was completely. When he was talking, when he was running, all the brains seemed like they were in the head. And so people were like, I like what he said, I think, yeah. And then he won, and then we realized that the brains were gone. And now we have no confidence, and we should do something about that presently, right? Before there's no food on the shelves. A lack of choice was how I knew I was broke. Yeah, I mean, when I was like out on my own for the first time, I had a choice between these 2 types of cereals I could afford. One was like a little corn pop thing. Whatever it was the only ingredient was high fructose corn syrup. And then there was this other cereal that was like, okay, I'm positive it was for people. I'm 100% positive it was for people, but it was built like dog food, okay? It just had a very pellety look to it. It had when you poured it had the brrr of like pellet. Didn't help it also went in a bowl, right? And that was what I did, back and forth, because I was broke. And I just had these 2 choices. I could just go from one to the other, and one got me real like jittery and excited, and I usually crashed by like 2 p.m. And then the other one definitely felt like I should be barking if I'm eating it.
Then I got a little bit of money in my pocket. Ooh, I got spoiled for choice. Then I didn't even know what to do. I buy some cereal and I'd be like, it's good, but it's not the best. It's fine. Completely forgetting it could have just been these two. You know, that's what it feels like. Look outside looking in, that you have like a whole parliamentary process. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm sure you have your problems. I get that. You don't tell anybody, but I'm positive that you have your own problems. I get it. And I understand people's frustration. I know that there's been strikes in Canada. I know that there are people that are worried about housing. A lot of the same things that people are worried about in other countries. It's not as if I'm projecting some like absolute heaven and haven onto you. I know that it's a country full of people and people have problems. It's just we have more. It's a lot, I mean? It's a lot. And I don't think that it would work, because even with a prime minister versus a president, your prime minister still fits in that legislative branch, There's a lot of things reining your prime minister in, no matter who they are. And a president we're coming to realize by accident, is a king. That's a king. We thought we left, and we really did. We were like, we don't want a king. Get out of here, Britain. And Britain was like, all right, give it a couple hundred years. You'll want one. No, because we have this different branch, this executive branch where the president's power resides, that is deciding to not really pay attention to or heed our legislative or judicial branch, because it's really the legislative branch that's supposed to decide if we defund Elmo. That's really their purview, but he was like, no, I'm the only one that gets to look like this. You most recently had a decision to make. You most recently had an election. And, I was here before the election, now I'm here after the election, and I was never gonna tell anybody what to do. I did, while I was in Montreal and Ottawa, tell people to just look across the fence. Just check if you like that. Because they always say that the grass is greener, but sometimes your neighbor doesn't have grass. Sometimes it's just a Buick on blocks. And that is tough. Because then our news would become your news. Because look, don't be wrong, like I said, I'm fully aware, and I also believe I'm open to the ideas that Canada has problems I'm not even aware of, right? Like there's a chance, I'm imagining, right? If you're in the right place at the right time for this bad thing to happen, if you go out into one of your beautiful parks and you where you're not supposed to be, you playing around, it's possible to get bit by a moose. Right? It's not all roses and bubbles over here. You can really get got over in Canada, right? You could get bit by a moose if you put yourself in that situation. If you really stay in those neighborhoods, you know what I mean? If you're really trying to live that lifestyle, that's what comes with it. But trust me when I tell you, you're not ready for daily U.S. news. Sure, you could get bit by a moose here, but just the other day, a man used an alligator to rob a liquor store.
which is one of the more effective robberies you can engage in, right? You know, because you walk in to a liquor store, I'm assuming to buy some alcohol, make a night of it, you know? And then there are people in the US that are desperate. You know, desperate because we don't share the same social safety nets, we won't even share some of the same attitudes around a network of community the way that Canadians do as a baseline. I know not everybody agrees, and you have your conservatives, your liberals and everything, but for the most part, there's a genuine understanding that, like, okay, healthcare, we're gonna have that, we're gonna do our best with housing, we're gonna do our best with all these things, right? And in the US, it's mostly like, hey, get it how you live. And sometimes getting it how you live includes robbing a liquor store, going to where you know there will be cash, going there with an alligator that might be a pet. I have no idea. I truly don't know if this is a pet or if this is an alligator that he found, or if this is an alligator that he like going in on it with. He's like, look, if I get the cat, because look, I do like the idea of them being partners. I do like the idea of them getting together and being like, listen, all right, you like raw chicken, you like raw chicken thighs, okay? If I have cash, I can buy that stuff, I can give you some of that, so we'll split it in chicken thighs and cash. Cash to me, chicken thighs to you, just so that we're clear, right? So I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna pick you up like a puppy, right? But then I'm gonna grab the back of your tail, I'm gonna swing you around, right? And when I swing you around, I want you to be like, ah! Just really make a show of it, keep the mouth open, let them know what could happen if they don't act right, right? Because he didn't go in, this man did not walk in holding it like a rifle, like anybody can get it. Hey, don't move, right? No, this man came in, swinging gator at people, right? And people couldn't run out fast enough. Now, it was a mistake to start swinging it in the doorway, because you really only want the actual cashier to be intimidated. Now, you've made 8 people think, all right, it's all of us against him, the alligator. You have more adversaries than is necessary. You know, then you try to get the cash and everything, but it's hard to get the cash because the alligator, he's not really thinking like a robber. Alligator was told to do his thing, so he doing his thing. You know, like that wiggle that they do, going as hard as he can, throwing hip, right? Like, alligators don't have booty, but if they did, he'd be twerking, right? Snapping and everything, which does make it hard to get the cash, right? Because now this cashier trying to put it all in his hand. This dude didn't have a bag. So now he just got to stuff cash in his pocket while holding on to the tail of the alligator. And the alligator, you know, I don't know, I don't speak alligator, but I'm assuming the alligator is like, is this part of it? Because after a while, the alligator is being more difficult than helpful, right? Stuffing, then he runs out, you know, they call the cops and everything. And look, I can't imagine what it's like to be a cop that gets the call that there's someone robbing a liquor store with an alligator. I'm sure those cops were like, couldn't it just be a gun? No, you're not ready for news like that. You know, because I'm sure, look, there's property crimes, there's violent crimes everywhere in the world. You know, you have your crime. But it seems like, from what I've been reading about your crime, that it does, and I don't mean this in like an insensitive way, but it does seem like most of your crime kind of like makes sense. Like you get to the bottom of it, and it's like, oh, he wanted what he had, and so he stole it from him, right? The US has a lot of weird crime because a lot of our resources have been shut down, right? So some of the crime is not necessarily just to do the crime, it's just people doing what they think is necessary in their head that happens to be a crime. Like, a good example was, there was a man who called
the police because he broke into this restaurant, right? Broke into the restaurant, and I think he just wanted food. That's what I'm gathering from like the call. So he just wanted food. He called in to 911, and they were like, 911, what's your emergency, right? And he's telling them off top, look, okay, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. All right, I did break in here, get a little something to eat, make a little snack, all right? But somebody else is in here, and y'all need to come quickly. Like, I'm all for a little burglary, but somebody in here being weird, like y'all need to come for real. Oh, I'm scared. Oh, please come arrest me. Because this is my thing as well, is that Canada would only become the 51st state by legislation or by force. It's not gonna happen by legislation, because even if the more conservative counterparts of your government really wanted it, the people have made clear that they don't want it, right? And so then there would be steps taken, there'd be no confidence, there'd be all these things to stop that thing from happening. And the one thing that I don't think people are counting on is even if there was an attempt to do it by force, people think that Canadians don't fight. But your favorite sport, your favorite sport in the world, you have access to all the sports. You have access to all the sports. I understand it gets very cold here, but the one that you picked was the one where a fight could break out at any time. And not just like break out. Like sometimes there's a reason. Sometimes there's a clear, I don't really follow hockey because mainly I can't see it. I want to follow it so bad. Everybody seems like they're having a good time, but every time I've watched hockey, I've had to pretend that I know what's happening. You know what I mean? It's like being tone deaf watching like a singing show, like a singing competition, like watching X Factor tone deaf, and then you're just waiting for other people to cheer, so you're like, oh, they getting it, no. Yeah, actually, no, you're right, they bad. No. Anytime I've watched hockey, I've just seen the people's heads move. I've tried to move my head where their head moves, and I tried to look at where I think they're looking at and everything. And then you hear the clicking and the clacking of the sticks and stuff. And sometimes it'll click clack extra, so I'm like, oh, the puck must be over there, but it's not. It's not at all. It's actually over here. I don't know what they're doing over there. And then somebody will be rammed into a wall, a clear wall, so you can see. I've never seen only in hockey and adult films have I seen somebody pressed up against glass like this. The way they... Wow. That, I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, ooh, y'all think he gonna come through? No, and then you have the fights. And the fights are very interesting to me. Truly, because it's like, there's a strange energy to the fights. No, you never really know when they're gonna pop off, and sometimes there's a backstory. Sometimes it's like, oh, look, 3 games ago. You don't just have fights, you have drama with the fights. You have a real soap opera to follow. And then you see them and those gloves off. I remember the first time I saw it, they threw the gloves off and I was like, ooh, won't your hands get cold? And then they go swinging each other. And then what I really love is they grab the jersey for leverage. Missing, horribly, missing, nothing but missing, and really try to get close. Come here. But every once in a while, you get somebody with incredible balance and hand-eye coordination. They throw those gloves off, they grab them. You would think they weren't on skates. They swinging around and sliding, but they're still like... It's incredible. Anytime, anybody can get it. Incredible stuff. People really believe that Canadians don't fight, that they don't have fight in them. We didn't know you had booze, you know? But I knew because a while back, I saw a news story that took place in Canada, you know, trying to be international. And I saw this news story about a man who was woken up in the night when 2 burglars broke into his home and were trying to figure out what they could take. They clearly hadn't done a good job casing his residence. So they're just looking for whatever, right? And then he wakes up, and let me first say this. If someone breaks into my home and is looking for what to steal, I don't know if I'm gonna confront them immediately. I think I might try to come up with a plan. You know, maybe I'll pretend I'm a ghost. They break in, I go to the closet that's closest to a vent. I'm like, spirits live here, y'all better stop, you're gonna have to return it or something, like, you're gonna be haunted. You don't wanna be haunted. I don't care how big you are, you can't fight haunted. Everything in here cursed. You don't want those problems. You know? Maybe that doesn't work. Maybe they're not afraid of ghosts. Maybe they don't believe in ghosts. Maybe they know it's me. Plan B. I'm gonna act like a bigger man. They haven't seen me yet. You know? Lean around the corner. Hey! Hey, don't make me put my killing shoes on. Yeah, you lucky I don't have my shoes on right, because if I put my shoes, everybody dying in here. Because that's plan C, to act like my own dog. You know? Lean into my phone, make a recording, put on the ground, slide it down after I hit play. That way they think it's behind them. I'm probably gonna cough. Trying to bark makes me cough. And then, last resort, might have to fight them. Might have to just run up on them and do what men do. And I have to roll up on them real quick and start biting as hard as I can. Yeah, please believe you're gonna wish it was a dog when I get done, all right? I brushed and I flossed tonight, so get ready. No, but these dudes, they broke into this guy's home and they had ski masks on, and I don't know about you, but if somebody already got the ski mask on, it just makes me feel like they're a professional criminal. Do you know what I mean? Like, you got the ski mask on already, I'm like, this is real crime we're dealing with right now.
And this dude doesn't hesitate at all. And all he got on is his shorts, by the way. He just like shorts, no shirt, anything. And he starts pushing them up against the wall and he starts fighting both of them and really swinging. And they're swinging at him and he's taking some hits, but he's giving a lot. Just bow, 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 bow. He's like fight juggling them. Because he'll hit one and that one will fall and then he gets to concentrate on this one for a second. Bow, bow, bow. And then this one gets up. He's like, you can get some too. Bow. Right? And then their fight, he puts up a real fight to the point where at first they're ganging up on him. And then they're both like, look, I don't know how nice this apartment is. Maybe nothing in here is worth these lumps we're catching. And so then they try to leave. But he does keep punching them as they're trying to leave. He does just keep whooping ass as they're clearly turned around trying to exit now. He like trying to choke one from behind and kick the other one. And then they run out. They run out of his home. He successfully defended his castle. But then he does also leave. So then he left. I was like, uh-oh. And then you just see in the security camera in his garage, him drag one of them back in. And I was like, Normally, in the U.S., there's a sentiment around this sort of thing. Like, there's warnings. It's like, you know, there's yard signs. Don't come unless you're armed. Blah blah blah. Like, there's a very frenzied passion. There's a fever dream in the U.S. of legally being able to kill someone that comes into your home. We like it a lot. There are some people that are like, please break in. I want to kill you, right? And that is almost always so that the person who wants to do the killing can use a gun. They want to shoot someone. They want to be able to shoot someone. And this man, this Canadian, he didn't have a gun. He desperately wanted to use these hands. He brought them back into the, I don't even know what crime this is now. Like this was burglary and it has turned to kidnapping, I think. I don't know if it can still be self-defense if you dragging him back in and dragging him by the top of the ski mask too. So he over here kicking, fighting going backwards, right? And so then he brings that dude back in, punching, closes the door. This dude tried to get up against the door. He throws it back down and locks the door. And I was like, y'all done accidentally broke into the devil's house. That's crazy. And I think he had one of those things where instead of a key, it was like a combination thing. So as soon as you put in the combination, the lock will start to turn because that's what's happening. Because now the dude who was the second burglar, he must have been running and realized nobody was behind him. So then he comes back and he trying to get in, and then this dude just keep relocking it, right? So then finally, you know, this dude just manages to get the ski mask off the guy, so now he sees his face. Now his face is on the camera and everything. But then, I don't know how well this burglar could fight. It didn't seem like well at all. But he does finally like create like a little butterfly situation with his legs, which destabilizes the homeowner. So that guy falls to the ground. Then he goes for his own takedown on the burglar, but the burglar swings down, sits, and just has him in like a headlock, but not a headlock that's like effective. It looks like a headlock just so he can catch a break. You know, so when you see Trump talk about like a 51st state, I feel like if I worked at the White House, I would just bring an iPad and like, Mr. President, this is what they do.
Give it up for Josh Johnson.
This weekend, wow, it is for everybody. I imagine this weekend was weird. It was weird because for like half a day, we did think half a day. That's so long. Half of a day. It's a very long time to think the president. And then, you know, we found out, oh, that wasn't the case. And they posted, you know, the news reports came out. They were like, the president's been found golfing in Virginia. It's like, don't say found like that. Found. Like a lost singer. Found. It's insane. Just say he was golfing in Virginia. Found in Virginia? It makes it sound like the White House didn't know. I'm pretty sure they drove him. Found. 12 hours is too long to think somebody's dead. My buddy lives with his grandpa. And every time he thinks his grandpa's dead, he finds out in about 5 minutes. His granddaddy does that sleep you only do when you old. You know that sleep where you like... Yeah, like I don't know why, but like it seems like after 70, people just sleep with a little bit too much neck. You know what I mean? Like his granddad can't just go to sleep. He always hit the like that's a very dead way to lay. That's how Talia died at the end of Dark Knight Rises. She like the neck crank is a surefire way for somebody to put a spoon in front of your nose to see if you're still kicking. He does it a lot, apparently, you know, because his granddaddy sleeps pretty deep. And there's that whole thing about sleep being the cousin of death, and I think it's his granddaddy's half-brother, because not even a snore, not even a you know what I mean? He said he always thinks his grandpa gone when he take a nap because the way he falls asleep, which to be fair to my friend, this is I've never seen this in anyone else in my entire life. But he said his granddad will go take a nap. He'll announce it too, like, I lay down. And then he goes to lay down, whether it's on the couch or it's in his room, and lays his head back. And he said the way his granddaddy falls asleep is he takes a deep breath. That's a great way to look dead. This man goes to take a nap, lays on the couch and goes, Now, to be fair to his granddaddy, every time he wakes up, he does finish the breath. said his granddad never wake up peaceful. He always wake up. But even then, he's never wondered if his granddaddy was gone for 12 hours. 12 hours. Jeez. And we thought that because Trump doesn't look good. You know what I mean? He just finally looked like he act like. You know what I mean? Like if somebody listed everything a person did next to everything that they ingested, you'd be like, that's not a person who's well. And finally, he doesn't, he just doesn't look like he's doing great. I didn't even know the term. He had some venous thing. Turns out that venous thing was his ankles. His ankles, I don't know if you've seen them. World leaders have seen them. World leaders have had to sit there and not look. In case you're not familiar, look, Trump's ankles are... No, his ankles just sitting there looking, caked up. Like... I mean, he got some thickums under those socks. Trump's ankles have quite a bit of booty. I can't imagine what that must be like to be an aide in the White House and walking next to the president, taking orders from the president of the United States, but all you can hear is his ankles clapping. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, it is. It's like his ankles and then his hand. That hand. His hand is black. Like Imagine being Donald Trump and turning black. No one's more upset than him. No, that's bad. That is tough. He's over here trying to live, and if you just don't have something on the schedule, people assume. It's funny too because I go back and forth with friends. I have friends that are sort of across the political spectrum. I have these friends who, whether they tell me or not, I know that they voted for Trump. At least one of them, pretty sure, voted for him 3 times. Every time he could, he did. And so we'll go back and forth all the time. We'll mostly be arguing all the time. And we argue about a bunch of things that aren't Trump as well. Like sometimes we'll just argue about like whole social issues, whole different policies and everything. And maybe it's because I've known him longer than Trump has been president that I feel like having those arguments is, to me, worth it. You know, I don't ask anybody else to do everything that I'm doing, but I think that there is something to get to the bottom of, and it's what we are gonna do when he's gone. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that right now it's easy to put everything that's happening and how we feel about each other on one person, because it's sort of the catalyst for all this stuff. But the groundwork was being laid long before he ever became president. And so whenever he's gone, you know, we're all gonna have to figure out a way to relate to each other. Because it's not as if all of the problems begin and end with him. You know, he's just one of them. But I don't know. No idea. It's maybe. We don't know. It could be any day now. It could be 200 more years. Truly, like my grandma was in the nursing home before she passed, and I would go visit her and everything. My grandfather as well, at different times they were in nursing homes, and when I go to visit them, you'd see people who had to be 3,000 years old. And it's like, I don't know, you know, you try to live a life that's full of love, and like you try to make memories and moments with family, with strangers. You want to have a full life. You want to have a life that you look back on and you're proud of the impact you had on people, you know? And along the way, try to maybe, I don't know, eat right when you can, but enjoy yourselves, you know? And drink sometimes, not too often. Maybe party a little bit when you're younger and wean off of it as you get older, but do your best to have a really impactful life, even if you never become whatever it is, like rich, famous, popular. You're someone who, by being in other people's lives, their lives are richer. And same way that trees in the forest have roots that overlap, your life impacts other people's lives. You create ripple effects and create positive change in the world. And hopefully by doing all the right things, you have a good, long life. Or you could be the devil and probably live way longer, like way longer. So many of those people in that nursing home were very mean. They were so mean. I was like, man, life must run off hate fuel. How are you this old and mad you're alive too? Be sitting there, nothing keeps you alive longer than sitting in a rocking chair and not rocking. Imagine, you gotta really be a bad person to sit in a rocking chair, have the joy of rocking and not even want it. My friend said, you know, he went through a similar thing. He would go to the nursing home, visit his grandparents and stuff, and he said that every day there was this old dude in a rocking chair, not rocking, sitting there, arms crossed in the chair. Everybody walked by. People would say hello to him. Finally, he was like, you know what? I say hello to this man when I pass him, and we never really have a conversation. He doesn't speak to me. And I don't take it personally, because you never know what people are going through. You know, some people, you might think they're being rude, but maybe they have something going on. Maybe they have dementia a little bit, or maybe they're in their own head about something, trying to remember something and doing something. So he said, I'm going to make a point the next time I go there to have a conversation with him. You know what I mean? Because that's the one thing he said he never saw anybody do.
And so next time he went to visit his grandpa, on the way out, he walked up to him and he was like, "Hi, how you doing?" The man said, "I'm alive." And it's like, "Well, I hope you're having a good day." He's like, "Why would it be a good day?" And, "Well, you know, it's nice outside and everything, sun shining. You're in a rocking chair." And he was like, "I'm in a rocking chair. I don't like this rocking chair. I just sit in it so nobody else cares." It's easy to put everything in the way that we are now and all narratives and all discourse on just one person. It's easy to do that, especially when that person looks like they're driving all of it, right? But the ground was laid for this person long before they came into any sort of political picture. You know what I mean? Like for a long time, people have felt like there was nobody who was looking out for them. For a long time, people felt like it would take somebody who could not be bought by Washington or Wall Street's special interest money, or couldn't be twisted in whichever direction by lobbyists, or was looking out for people because they weren't motivated by money, and they weren't motivated by the promise of getting rich, and the thing that we came to believe as a country almost. You saw this way before Trump ever entered the political picture, is that if someone was at least independently wealthy, maybe they wouldn't be swayed by the money. You know what I mean? And there were those people across the political spectrum that felt like there was no one looking out for them, that slowly everything that was their quality of life and everything that they earned was eroding away piece by piece, right? And that they just needed someone to step up who would stand in the way of all that and wouldn't be swayed by it. And unfortunately, that person never showed up. But and so I have these arguments with my friend, and there was one point where I'm going back and forth for a while because I felt like for everything that he said, I was saying something that was a reason why he shouldn't trust Trump on it, or why I didn't think it was something that was going to happen, you know? And finally he goes, "Well, you know, he's a businessman." And I had heard this before, and he said he's a businessman. And I was like, oh, he's a businessman. He's a businessman. He is a businessman. He's a businessman, though. No, like he is a businessman. He is a businessman. He is a businessman. He's a businessman. He is a businessman. You said he's a businessman, and he's a businessman. You told me he's a businessman. I've heard this before. He's a businessman. I'm just making sure that I understand what you're saying. He's a businessman. He is a businessman. He's a businessman. So even you didn't say good businessman. You said, You said, as in he's one, as in, yes, he does business. It's a businessman. Yeah. He's a businessman. He is a businessman that bankrupted a casino. You know casinos. You know those things you don't generally leave money with. He bankrupted a casino. He's a businessman. He bankrupted a casino. A casino, though. He's a businessman. It's a businessman. Bankrupted a casino. And look, I'm not a businessman. And I don't own a casino. In fact, whenever I go to a casino, I don't even gamble. I just do the show. I've done some shows at casinos. And then, I do the show, and then I go back to my room. I leave. I don't know the ins and outs of running a casino. I hardly know what it's like to really, enjoy yourself
at a casino walking through and playing games and stuff. You know, I've walked with other people as they've wanted to gamble and stuff like that. I've been like awkwardly standing there, but I don't know what it takes to run a casino. And maybe this casino, look, maybe I'm throwing this out there as an olive branch. One of many I'll extend. Maybe this casino, this one, maybe had those slot machines that really give you credit for how hard you pull them. You know what I mean? You pull that slot machine as hard as you can, and the slot machine is like, okay, Daddy. Nah, I gotta get you a little something for that. No, I don't know, but he knows because he's a businessman. He's a businessman. Maybe I'm throwing it out there that at this casino they had, working for the casino, blackjack dealers that were as bad at blackjack as me. Maybe. The dealer, you'd be at his table, and he was like, you said hit? You sure? Okay. And you win again. All right, wonderful. I don't know. He probably knows because he's a businessman. Maybe this was one of the only casinos in all of America, maybe in all of the world, the only casino with clocks. Who knows? Maybe just over the poker table was a clock, and people were like, 9 already? I should go home. I've been here for quite a while. I don't know, but I'm sure he knows because he's a businessman. He's a businessman. Bankrupted a casino. A businessman. And look, it's a casino. I can't think of a better... People come and drop off their money and leave. I can't think... I am not a businessman, but I can't think of a better business to make money. You can't even have casinos everywhere. But, you know, this is my thing. A part of me does understand how someone could think all we need to do is get a businessman in there to fix everything, because I think that America runs so much like a business, even in the parts that it shouldn't, that obviously we're going to think everything translates to business. You know? Like I didn't, this was where I was naive, I'll tell you right now. I thought that even if there was no national pride or community, or even if we couldn't find some sort of like camaraderie as Americans, we at least, at our very core, loved money enough. I thought we loved money more than anyone loved him. I thought as soon as somebody messed with the money, we would all come to our senses and be like, yo, not the money. That's the only thing holding this together. But then you see there are people whose lives have already been ruined. Because of his policies, you could lay all the blame at his feet, and they're like, I'll figure something else out. You'll figure You'll figure something else out. That's crazy. That's a crazy thing to say. Especially when, like, what? 12 months ago, you were screaming about eggs. And now your business is in shambles. And you're like, who can say? That felt insane. But also, I think that if you look at America as a business, it would make sense that you would want a businessman in there. But the thing is, you can't run the country the way you run a business. You know, a company, if they are in dire straits, could lay off half their work staff and then try to keep things going, use that to stay afloat. A company can buy back its own stocks in an effort to enrich itself as a company, make those stocks worth more. A company has a fiduciary responsibility to its shareholders. A company technically does more for its shareholders than the government does for its people. And so I could see how people would be like, oh, we'd at least like to get that. That'd be nice, some dividends or equity, something. We'd at least like to feel solvent. No. But it just doesn't work that way. And I don't think it should. I think that a business now is very different than a business before. Like there's a thing that happened, and maybe it's only like my frame of reference because of age and everything, but I think that something happened in 2008 that we haven't recovered from still, which is that, like, for the first time ever, companies that truly screwed up beyond measure, like actually beyond measure, like they should have crashed everything. This is the type of stuff that you read in the textbook and then they, hung everybody. Like that's... We don't realize it, but that's the level of like nasty that it got in 2008. If you had, knocked off a couple 100 years and put it in France, there would have been a guillotine. You know what I mean? And instead, there was a bailout, but instead of a bailout of the people, it was a bailout of the companies, because we believe in business so much. We believe that everything works like a business, to the point where even the politicians, naively, maybe some of them sincerely, were sure that if we keep the business afloat, it'll keep the people afloat, because then people won't lose their jobs, and then people will still be able to get these services, and people will still buy these products, right? And what ended up happening is that, so many people were foreclosed on, so many people lost their jobs anyway, people's like 401ks and retirements were destroyed, and then the people that they gave the bailout to sort of, trickle down the economics, something got stopped up right at the top. And so people who had wrecked the economy beyond measure got a bonus. They got a bonus for wrecking usually when you break something. And ever since then, it feels like business is about not being left holding the bag. That's what real business seems to be now, is that you do everything you can to extract as much value as possible, and then you dip before everything comes crashing down, whether you dip because you sell the company or you dip because, you decide to shutter it after you've like fired everyone and ruined it as a service and everything. Basically private equity, right? So I believe he's a businessman. I do, because I'm sure, look, if we're talking business, to his credit, I'm sure that he was not worse off for bankrupting that casino. I'm sure it was the people that worked at the casino. I'm sure he stiffed some of the contractors who helped build the casino, but I'm sure that he found a way to leverage that debt, because he loves debt. He found a way to leverage that debt into his next venture, and then he started selling steaks or whatever. I don't know. Like, it was just, it's been a lot of products. You know what else it is too, is that You can't focus too much on this one person. It makes him more important than he really is. I understand that he's president. I understand he's one of the richest people in the world. But as far as importance, it's about what lasts, you know? This dude, no wonder we thought he was gone. He went on Fox News. No wonder we thought he was gone. Trump went on Fox News. Everybody forget this. Trump went on Fox News and just started randomly, no one asked him, randomly talking about how he was trying to get into heaven. And it's like, then you know. One thing my buddy's granddaddy never does is talk about the afterlife. Gets up, watches his shows, takes his naps, gets up and eats, and repeats. If he was pontificating on heaven, I think people would just start assuming that every nap really was the last nap. No. It's because, you know, a man's hand. Guys, he's turning black. But I don't, look, I truly talk about Trump because he's in the news, but I don't really care about Trump. I care about people, what's going on with people. All of this is going to outlast this one person, you know? And even in California, you see in California, where there was one case, it seems contained and already treated and everything, but it is happening. One case of plague. You know plague. You know plague. Plague. Some would ask which plague. Apparently, the. You know plague from the producers of the Middle Ages. Plague. You know plague. Don't act like you don't know plague. You know plague. It's plague. The reason Europe's not bigger. Plague. You know plague. And no matter how much you may hate Trump, you gotta admit, this is some pretty bad luck. He 2 for 2 on presidential terms and plagues. That's crazy. That was wild. Yeah, first one a fluke. The second one, how did a plague skip Biden's era? Like that's. Plague. Because that's the fear, is that, like, yes, they found one case, they treated it, you know, they've even traced it back to a particular source, because it's really a climate change issue, because basically the fleas that carry plague are thriving right now in the warmer climate, and so then they're hopping on more rats, and then the rats might come in contact with people, right? And so there's always the fear, the possibility that it isn't just that one case, and it isn't just contained to California. There's a real fear and a possibility that plague could have spread to the president's hand. Like it's possible. Because what we did, and how do I put this? What we've done in the U.S. as far as presidents is it's not exactly like we're picking young ones. You know what I mean? Whatever you do, whatever that thing is, whether it's law, is military, or it's business, we seem to want you to have a wealth of experience in that field. Because there's going to be 3 branches of the government, and you may not be familiar with all of them, even if you're a career politician. You may not know how to like wade perfectly through all of them. But, you know, if you have a lot of experience in one thing, that could win you the trust of the people. And we haven't had a young president in a long time. I mean, like, Kennedy was one, like, young ones, like a young guy being president. And we haven't really done that again. Like, you know, what we've done is we've let confidence and swag make up for youth. If you are the president and you present yourself in a way that makes us feel good, we will turn that back over to you in the sort of social capital that youth usually carries, right? Because we want you to have experience, but at a certain point, we have to be realistic, right? Like, Bill Clinton wasn't young, but he had a saxophone. We had a saxophone, so we defended him. We were like, that shows lung capacity. Have you heard him play, though? And then you had George W. Bush. Look, George Bush wasn't young, but he... I don't know, he just had like a childlike wonder to his... You could always tell when he was addressing the nation and he had also just learned a new word. Bush would be up there like, terror. Did I do it good? And then you had Barack Obama. And Barack Obama was younger than some of the people who have been president, you know, before and since, but he wasn't a baby. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't incredibly young, but he had that exact thing I'm talking about. He had an energy that was like a mobilization behind him, and he had like some measure of charisma that made up for any youth he might have been lacking. You know, I remember when Barack Obama sang that Al Green. That was incredibly uncomfortable. No, because when it happened, I was at a get together with a bunch of aunties going, "Oh, Barack." I'm like, no. No, I'm trying to have my dinner right now. What you doing? Can't eat meatloaf in these conditions? And then you went from Obama to Trump. And Trump had that energy. He had people behind him, and he came off youthful because he was like a schoolyard bully. Anytime somebody said something, any interview that went awry, he was ready, nickname, anything. He was just coming at you all the time. It's like he fed off of it. It was his favorite thing to fight with the media and get people riled up. That feels like youthful energy. That feels like it's going to be here forever, you know? And then we went from Trump to Biden, who, to be fair, told us he was going to be old. I've talked about this before. We were coming at Biden. We asked Biden, and Biden was like, "Are you sure? I got a Werther's in my mouth right now." I'll do it if you want me to do it, but my car does smell like potpourri, so. I'll do it. If y'all want me to do it, I'll do it. For real. If y'all like, no. Like if I'm the only one that can stop them, if I need to do it, I'll do it. But just know, when I shake world leaders' hands at the G7, G20, whatever, my hand will pop a lot. Whole handshake. It's gonna sound like Orville Redenbacher. But if y'all insist. And then we got Trump again after Biden, and this feels very different. You go back and watch a rally of Trump from 2016, 2017, and then you watch a press conference now, very different. It's very, very different. I mean, it seems like he's dying. Like it's because look, I'm not. It's not lost on me that to be an American, to live in the U.S., you have to become, or at least have an understanding of what you need to do to be a semi-good capitalist, right? And there are people that ask the question, how can you fight for a more equitable world while you're living in a system that is corrupt? And I look at it the way I look at when I travel and I meet people who live in the country, but they don't speak the language, right? Like your native language is compassion and charity. You weren't made specifically to speak the language of margin calls and derivatives, dividends and everything. That's a language you can learn to get by because you live here, but it's not a language you were born with. When your parents are raising you, or when you have fond memories of being a kid, they all come from things much, much deeper than money. And then as you get older, you clearly need money to get by. That's no crime. Like, you have to function as a society. So you learn how to move with money as best as possible, but you can get distracted. It can take you to a place that makes it hard to remember your humanity. You know what I mean? Like some people look at anyone who has succeeded in business as someone who must have earned it, but that's not how all business works. You know what I mean? Like if I own a house and I set it on fire and I run out of the house, am I a genius, or did I just have an insurance policy? Maybe both, but maybe I'm a crook. You know? Like only solvency that you have to contend with is your soul. You know what I mean? The solvency is defined by a company's ability to pay its long-term debts, right? If a company's not solvent, you have no trust in that company, and you probably shouldn't invest in that company. And as long as we're keeping it to financial terms, a soul works in a similar way. Depending on your belief system, depends on if your solvency, your long-term debt is to God or family, your community or a cause. But like, you can tell the difference between a religion and a cult by how they measure those solvencies. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that every major religion doesn't have its blemishes. It has people, so it's going to have plenty of mistakes in its history. But, a religion that only speaks to what is deeper about you and what is in you and what happens outside of all of this is probably worth looking into, worth reading about. And anything that brings it all the way down to the material good is probably a cult. You know what I mean? Just because a cult usually wants your money. They start off pretty good. A cult usually starts off with like a great party or something, and then like, I don't know, in about 3 weeks they're like, hey, how much do you make? Dividends work the same way. Dividends get paid out. Companies will pay dividends to their investors, and those dividends go to go to shareholders. They go to investors. And if you have ever been the beneficiary of someone's kindness or goodwill, then you have dividends to pay throughout your life, you know? And I don't know if that can be understood if you only understand business. You know? Country isn't a business. It just isn't. You know what I mean? Like, but who knows? He's a businessman. Like, maybe he's Trump is a businessman the way JFK Jr. was a pilot. You know what I mean? Oh, all right. No, you should groan. You're on the plane.
Mira.